Aurora Ember is already here checking in. Hello, Aurora. Big Giant Head, check. Live on LOTRO stream, check. Pithy quote from somebody smarter than I, check. Audio levels look good. I think we're ready to play. Hi everybody, welcome to another riveting edition of Adventures After Dark. I'm your host, I'm Big Ed Mustafa. I'm excited to be here. And in my ongoing effort to continue mixing it up, Freelancer checking in. Hello, Freelancer. I was going to do some questing on Galandriel, my original LOTRO character. Big pretty head, check. Thank you, Antler, I'll take the compliment. Galandriel is my original LOTRO character, my main, my elven champion on Arkenstone. She is fierce, she is ready to carve up the enemy, and I've put her away and haven't played her much the last couple of years. That's okay. It's one of the nice things about LOTRO. You can park a character and then come back to him after whatever amount of time you want. My group on Arkenstone also includes my highest level hunter and minstrel. Nemini and Lenorian, respectively, and I have played them both on LOTRO stream before. Shing shing indeed. I'm going to enter the game if for no other reason than to get the bombastic title screen music to calm itself. I hope everybody had a good week. I had a good week. I'm excited for the weekend to be here. Got plenty of overtime on Tuesday and Thursday. Glad to be winding down for the weekend. The office was pretty deserted today, and I had a 1 o'clock conference call with my boss, and he's like, well, yeah, if you got everything pretty well wrapped up and you want to head home early. It's like, as soon as I got off that conference call, out the door, baby. Didn't have to tell me twice. So yeah, 4th of July weekend. Tuesday, we're celebrating the 4th, which means that nobody will be in the office Monday either. The whole world's taking PTO, so should be a nice relaxing day at work on Monday. And then even I take the 4th of July off, so that's a good thing. I had been running some Gundabad quests with Galandriel, and I am at the task board, so I assume I have some tasks to turn in. Let's look and see. I may not have a bunch of task items, do I? I got a few. I got some frost-rimmed claws. And I got some frost-rimmed skin. So I can turn in a few now and a few after I go murder a bunch of stuff. So we will get to it. Skin and claws. Lord Kennan checking in. Hello, Lord Kennan. Welcome. Vacation week for me, so happy Friday. Aurora, you have a great week and enjoy yourself. I suspect I don't really need to tell Aurora that. She was going to enjoy herself regardless of what I said. That's okay. I wish her to enjoy it. Good way to begin and end the stream. Low on claws, low on skin. Crafting carry-all. What's this carry-all? Large task item carry-all. Okay, maybe I've got more task items than I thought. No, these are all onesies, twosies. Interesting. And I got a massive pile of copper scraps. It's very exciting. Staycation this year, but we'll definitely relax a bit. You know, a lot of times you take a vacation, you need a couple of days off when you get back just to recharge and rest up from traveling. So staycations are not a bad thing.
How may I help you today?
I'd like you to buy some crap. Most specifically, I want to sell you some copper scrap. Ponton Finberry checking in. Hello, Ponton.
Looking for Big Ed Mustafa?
I'm Big Ed Mustafa. Lord Kennan, thank you for the follow. You come by my personal channel and I am playing Apex Legends. I will apologize in advance for my horrible behavior, and I'll try to do better. There's a goat. Horror says, no you won't. I'm definitely more calm at Apex Legends than I was before I quit playing a year ago. Not that my behavior is anything to be proud of, but I think I generally try to avoid extreme rants unless I'm not streaming. You're just building back up. Yeah, you're probably right. Apex Legends is a horrible game and nobody should play it. It's soul-crushing and brings out the worst in people. Ponton is eating banana cream pie. Yummy. I had a terrific treat tonight, Ponton. Sir Waffle's checking in. Apex Legends Ed was nothing compared to Witcher 3 Ed. Witcher 3 got me pretty torqued off. I don't know. You probably didn't hear the worst of my Apex Legends rants back in the day. I really said some stuff I wasn't proud of. What did you have today, Ed? Oh yeah, Sir Waffles distracted me. For dessert tonight, I was treated to a Lithuanian torte, an apricot torte cake that was absolutely terrific. My friends Dwayne and Gwen needed some desktop support help, so I went over tonight. I was treated to a meatloaf dinner with corn and mashed potatoes and gravy. And set up a new Dell monitor and a new Brother inkjet printer scanner, and had to notify my buddy Dwayne that his old Canon scanner seems to have given up the ghost and he needs to replace it. It's fortunate that the new Brother printer does scanning, so maybe he doesn't need to replace it. But we had the Lithuanian torte for dessert, and it was scrumptious. Very, very yummy. And you should talk about all the rain we're getting all of a sudden. Yeah. I know I'm an old guy, Antler, but even I get bored talking about the weather. How is the missus? The missus is feisty. The missus is good. I took her some onion rings and a runza sandwich and some apple juice for her post-lunch lunch today. So when she goes, ugh, this is gross, and pushes her lunch tray away, she still gets enough calories to grow big and strong. And I'm picking her up and taking her out for Vietnamese food tomorrow. We're going to meet some friends, and that should be nice. Isn't that the best way to start up a conversation? Ski checking in. Hello, Ski. So I did have something wonderful happen yesterday. The occupational therapist came by to do a safety check at the new apartment, and we had Mrs. Mustafa come home. It's the first time she's seen the new place. And we walked through and took a look at the bathrooms and the bedroom and how hard it was going to be for her to get around in her current state, and checked out a bunch of stuff. And I've still got a little bit of work to do to get the apartment ready, but they did get the grab bars for the shower installed today, which was nice. They also left a bunch of keys on one of the bathroom counters for no apparent reason. I think the maintenance guy just had some extra keys to some of the units with him and just forgot that he left them here. So I'll have to circle back with the apartment managers tomorrow. But Mrs. M likes the new apartment, wasn't unhappy with any of the furniture layout, which kind of amazed me. I think she sort of has a don't care attitude. She just wants to come home. But after they left, I was going to drive Mrs. M back, and we just got to hang out and sit on the sofa, and I made her a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And we just got to hang out for a few minutes in our apartment together, which was very nice. That's something I hope I get used to again very quickly in the near future.
I'm surprised you lived through that.
Well, she doesn't know how much of her stuff I've thrown away yet, so she doesn't know how much of my stuff I've thrown away. There were some big pieces. I've mentioned my heirloom computer desk I finally got rid of, and she knows that was kind of a big deal. I didn't tell her the reason why I got rid of it, though, which is so there wouldn't be another drawer and storage bin for her to cram stuff in. I also, she knows I got rid of the aquarium, And there was something else fairly significant, but whatever it is, I don't really care. We needed to get rid of a bunch of stuff. It's a happy thing. Work's going pretty well. We recabled switch closet number 17 Thursday night. It's like, goodness. Ooh, completed Madagard Beast Slayer.
Nice.
More LOTRO points, please. So work's going well. Mrs. Mustafa's doing well. I gotta have dinner with friends tonight. I'm having dinner with more friends tomorrow. Yeah, life's good.
I think Bacchus said he won't be able to make it tonight.
Yeah, I know Bacchus has been busy. El Guarengo says, SV your play? I am on Arkenstone tonight. I'm guessing that was shorthand for what server are you playing on tonight, Ed? Get Samwise as a property guard and more using a free coupon. Oh, I think that's a treasure cache back there. Who knew? Let's see what is the precious. Please let it be jade gemstones. Please let it be jade gemstones. It was jade gemstones. I'm a lucky winner. I'm going to drink that power potion because it frees up an inventory slot. So I play on all of the free-to-play English-speaking servers. Gladden, Arkenstone, Crick Hollow, Landreval, Brandywine. Help me out here, guys. What else? Laurelin, Evernight. There's a free-to-play English-speaking server. I'm on it from time to time. Ski says there can be only one. Ark. Ark's a good one, there's no doubt about it. Forbin Kid says, is that so you can meet up with friends or run away from enemies? The friends thing, fortunately. I don't think I've made too many enemies in LOTRO. But the night is still young. We'll see how things go. And hello, Forbin Kid. Boy, we had a good time Wednesday playing LOTRO. The Gladden gang got together, and we had a few people we need to finish up some quests with to get them ready to do the Great Barrow down, the Great Barrow raid. So we're looking forward to that on Wednesday. Toffee Swirl checking in. Hello, Toffee Swirl. Welcome. Let's give Toffee Swirl a big shout out. If you're not following Toffee Swirl, correct that mistake immediately. And go over there, like, subscribe, donate. Let's see if we can put Toffee Swirl into a new higher tax bracket. Hot and Finberry says, I was tired, so did not log in Wednesday night. Yeah, it was a little smaller group than usual. I think we were at full fellowship, and that was about it. But we made good use of our time, Ponton, and as long as you're ready for the Great Barrow, then you're good to go. No worries there. And if you're not yet ready, you can probably just get that cleaned up and ready for Wednesday. You've got all weekend to work on it. You are welcome for the shout out, Toffee Swirl. I know we're only supposed to talk about LOTRO on LOTRO stream, but I know Toffee Swirl's been playing a lot of and enjoying Diablo 4. So you can go by Toffee Swirl's channel and check that out too if you'd like. Some impressive storytelling and very cinematic cutscenes. I was watching Toffee Swirl play and was rather intrigued by it. Antler says, sorry Ed, on the phone. That is okay, Antler. I stopped here because I thought I was collecting a trail of things following me. Oh, I was. Santigal checking in. Hello, Santigal. I'm enjoying Diablo 4 with friends, but find it kind of blah when playing solo. You know, my one worry for the game, Santigal, is that the cutscenes, as cinematic as they are and as good as the storytelling is, from what I saw watching Toffee Swirl play, I would be concerned that it might ruin the replayability. I think about the third or fourth time you're sitting through some of those same cutscenes, it might not be quite as fascinating. It's always a happy balancing act. I mean, I guess as long as they let you skip them by pressing a button, it's probably not a big deal. Games are just better with friends. Rora, you are spot on with that. Santigal agrees. You can skip the story after you do it on one character. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Toffee Swirl. Like I said, I was definitely enjoying watching you go through the storyline stuff, but they did not make it. Sadly, the people I used to play with are long gone. Time to make new friends, Ski. Come join our Wednesday night group on Gladden. You'll get to hang out with cool people like Pot and Finberry. That bat did not make it. El Gorengo says Lotro and beer. Well, I can sure think of worse combinations. Gippio checking in. Hello, Gippio. Mustafa, your drink tonight? Coke Zero. Although at the moment I don't have one. I was just thinking I need to run out to the fridge and get some caffeine in me. My friends Dwayne and Gwen picked up Coke Zero at the store just for me for when I came over tonight. My friends know to stock it. The airplane club knows to stock it. If I go to an airplane club meeting or event and we don't have Coke Zero, they know I'm going to bitch and complain about it. I ask for one thing from this club. All I ever ask is just have Coke Zero. So one of the problems I have is if I'm hauling Mrs. Mustafa around, I don't have room in the car for any of my airplane stuff. I don't know how I'm going to deal with going out to the flying field when she wants to come along. Any plans for the 4th? It's Canada Day here tomorrow. I'm going to go visit my parents and brother. That sounds nice. One favorite drink, Coke Zero. I do drink a lot of Coke Zero, it's true. When I was drinking beer, my favorite beer was a Dutch beer called Grolsch. It's super yummy. Happy Canada Day. For the 4th, I haven't exactly been invited anywhere yet. I'm hoping to hear from my friends with the lake house. I normally go over a year. For some reason, I've got it in the back of my head they might have sold the place, though. I don't know for sure. I could call them up and say, hey, what are you guys doing for the 4th? They're the friends who introduced me to Mrs. Mustafa, so they kind of owe me. Hey, you guys tricked me into dating this mean Korean lady. You owe me. It's a friend of mine's birthday, so she's coming over and we will have a mini get-together. Last year I could see fireworks from my balcony, so we will watch them. That is the best way to enjoy fireworks, in my opinion. When I was a kid, I loved fireworks, loved setting off fireworks, was fascinated by them. And then something happened when I turned 15. I got my first job. And I realized how hard I had to work to make a few bucks. And then the idea of turning around and spending that money on something I was going to light on fire and watch explode didn't make sense anymore. Why would I want to do that? So I think I've hooked the niece and nephew up a time or two, but other than that, I haven't spent any money on fireworks in a very, very long time. Ski says her husband is not crazy about fireworks, but we'll watch them anyway. I enjoy watching them, I really do. Some of the displays at our friend's lake house, there's a fair number of business owners who have properties down there, and they'll have customers come out for their 4th of July parties so they can write off the expense. We've enjoyed some really spectacular fireworks displays while sitting on our friend's patio. And most of those friends are people I go back to grade school and junior high with. There are few things in life better than relaxing with very old friends and just chilling and enjoying food from the grill and cold drinks by the lake and watching the fireworks. I mean, that's pretty nice. Love watching, but I actually get to shoot some off this year, and I might have splurged. Good for you, Aurora. El Guarango says with a barbecue. Exactly. Is it even a party without a cookout? Hope you enjoyed them, Aurora. We used to meet family down by the lake, but that stopped in recent years. That's too bad. See, I like this rock collecting because it's like picking flowers. And it's just as useless. I don't even know what the rewards are for this. Just out collecting rocks. Well, whatever you do, have fun and be safe this weekend. Don't forget sunscreen. And try to come back with 10 toes, 10 fingers, and 2 eyebrows.
I'm back.
Potton says there's some nice cosmetic rewards. Aurora says, ha, posted a pic in your Discord, Ed. Thanks, Ski. We used to do them out at my parents' house, but they moved to the city limits, so we can't anymore. Welcome back, Antler. It's 97 Fahrenheit today, kind of hot.
It actually got up to 97 today.
Not here, that was Potton saying that.
Oh, I'm like, there's no way with all the rain you've gotten.
It's quite possible that Ponton might live somewhere near Louisiana. So it might have been 97, but at least it was probably super humid too. Yeah, my boss is in Austin, and I was telling him how the wind switched direction and it's been blowing out of the north and it's been cooler and raining and we've been in the low to mid 80s. He sounded pretty jealous. Ski says we have it more muggy than hot. Smoke from Canada is clearing. Made for great sunsets. I got pictures of sunspots. Nice. Mustafa, what countries do you know? Well, I'm a lifelong Nebraskan, and my only travels outside of the United States were when Mrs. Mustafa and I honeymooned in Mexico.
Mexico.
Uh-huh. El Guarango says, come to Argentina. I would love to come to Argentina. Oh, nice. Complete Stonejaw's Beast Slayer. And it popped a whole bunch of stuff. Friend to the Reclaimers of the Mountain Hold. For those of you who aren't familiar with Argentina or Nebraska, we have at least one big thing in common. We like to raise and eat cattle. Spanish is easy. Well, you know what they say, El Guarango? What do you call a person who knows 2 languages? Bilingual. What do you call a person who only knows 1 language? An American. I have to confess, I've told the story on stream before too, but I studied Spanish in junior high school, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and I always scored A's and did very well on the tests, and the teacher even had me tutoring some of the other kids to help them catch up, and textbook-wise, I did just fine. The problem was I signed up for Spanish 3 my freshman year, and I walked into class a week or 2 after the fall semester started, and I was sitting in my chair, and Senora Rubio, the Spanish teacher, walked in and said something to the class in Spanish, and the entire class replied back in Spanish, and I did not understand a single word that anybody had just said. And at that point I realized that I might have been getting good grades and I was passing tests. I was not learning any Spanish. So I actually dropped the course. And I got some pushback from my counselors, and I didn't really get into the details about it. I didn't want to imply that Senora Rubio was a bad teacher or anything like that. I just wasn't learning any language. And it was like, yeah, I need to go find something else to do. Ponton says, only been outside the U.S. once, and that was to Thailand, Laos, and India. That, Ponton, sounds like a fantastic trip. Ski says, that is my issue too. I know which answer to pick, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Yeah, and it's... I took Latin later on in high school because I think there was a language requirement. And I was kind of leaning towards going to Creighton. Well, I ended up going to Creighton. I wanted to study pre-law, and I had an eye originally on going to law school. As big of a jackass as I am anyway, I would have been just an insufferable prick if I had actually become an attorney. So it's probably best that that never happened for me. But some people would argue I'm an insufferable prick anyway. Let's kill this dude. So I took Latin 1 and failed out of the class due to just a complete lack of interest, but I scored cum laude on the National Latin exam with honors. So I don't get that either. Ooh, I got dropped. I was too busy talking about how bad I am at languages. I'll suffer you any day, Mr. Mustafa. I appreciate that, Mr. Christoph. Thank you. We'll revive for free. And I'll try to pay more attention to this fight this time. I just assumed I was going to carve this dude up and it wasn't even going to be an issue. Alright. Well, let's pop a Daleman's Cram. And we'll pop a couple of scrolls. And this time we'll get mean. Yeah, it was still a little touch and go, but paying attention, I was able to finish him off fairly easily. Not the easiest fight, though. And if you like computer stuff at all, check out Mr. Christoph's channel. He does a lot of retro computer content. Think Apple IIe, think Commodore 64, Atari. He now has a Amiga 500. Very low miles. Was only driven to and from church by a little old lady once a week. Yeah, fun guy to hang out with in person. Fun guy to hang out with on stream. And you are welcome for the shout out.
What do you want?
Went to Vancouver. I've only heard good things about Vancouver, British Columbia, other than the fact that it's expensive. Okay, everybody, amuse yourselves for just a second. I may turn the air conditioning down a little bit. It's fairly warm in here, and I'm going to get something cold to drink. I will be right back. Chairstream hype. And let's hope I don't die standing on the staircase. I think good things are going to happen.
We'll break a mirror.
Almost back. Alright, I now have a tall, cold Coke Zero. My friends Dwayne and Gwen sent me home with the rest of the 2-liter bottle they bought for me to enjoy with dinner tonight. And I changed t-shirts. That brown t-shirt I was wearing I like, but it's it's kind of a medium weight, so I turned into a thinner t-shirt. Hopefully I'll be a little more comfortable. I also turned the air down just a notch. Thermostat says it's 76 in here, but maybe sitting by the computer just feels a little warmer. The good news is I am still alive. The bad news, if you're a dour hand dwarf, you're about to not be alive. Although maybe I shouldn't be overly confident. These guys are conning orange. I'm a champion. What's the worst that can happen? I'm still going to light these guys up. Unless they stun me a lot. Actually gonna have to drink a potion? Wow. There we go. Now, a smart man would have healed up. I'm not a smart man.
Actually, a smart man would just go charging in and slicing them up.
Well, I have to get a feel for which ones fire back with a bow and which ones charge me. You just want to take whatever the opposite tactic is of what they do. Cotton Finberry says, it was fun but also interesting. If the music of Tai King plays, everyone just stops silent. Doesn't move at all till the music's done. Was confused at first. Ah. Mustafa, do you read the books of the Lord of the Rings? I have read the books. In fact, I still have a set. I bought them. I was thinking about giving them to my nephew, and I'm like, he'll never read these. So I kept them for myself.
Nice to have collectibles.
Well, I enjoy Tolkien's written works very much, but, you know, I also enjoyed Dune by Frank Herbert quite a bit. I read that whole series, at least the stuff that was out when I was younger. I understand some books were written posthumously by his kids and things. I can't swear I've written every Dune book, but I've read every Dune book that Frank Herbert actually wrote. There's an old British sci-fi author that I just adored. I thought was terrific, and nobody else on earth has heard of him anymore. Michael Moorcock wrote the saga of Elric of Melniboné. One of my problems with The Witcher is a lot of things about The Witcher were borrowed from Elric. In fact, one of the Elric books was called Weird of the White Wolf, and they call Geralt the White Wolf, or Geralt, excuse me. You know, the albinoism and some of the other things that were characteristic of witchers, come right from Michael Moorcock. And he was quite prolific. He wrote quite a bunch of stuff, and it's out of favor, which is too bad.
Especially
wow,
with
Moorcock,
today's
he was way too depressing for me. Yeah, Santa Gall's not wrong. There weren't very many happy endings in any of Michael Moorcock's books. But that made them all the more interesting.
Bet you if you would show some newer, like some of the newer kids' books from like the old days, they would be like, "Why is this even a book?"
Yeah, kids aren't even into books. One of the things that's always puzzled me was Captain Zoid America and I worked with a bunch of Zoomers that were just really into the Marvel Universe. And like when the Moon Knight series came out, I was, trying to be the old guy who's relatable, and I'm like, oh yeah, I had Moon Knight #1 when the comic first came out. And they're like, nobody cares about the comic books. And I'm like, okay, you guys are following this like it's a religion, but you don't care about the source material. You don't care about the comic books that this stuff all came from. Nope. Don't care about the comics. Nobody cares about that junk. I'm like, what? Then why are you guys so fascinated by this? I never understood that. Well, and people are that way with music too. One of the things that got me interested in blues music was I grew up a big Rolling Stones fan, and then I would read interviews with Mick and Keith and the band members, and they would talk about all of their influences, and they were like, oh yeah, Willie Dixon and Muddy Waters, and they were talking about all of these blues musicians, and it made me want to go back and listen to the music that they listened to. And following some of those threads got me interested in a lot of the other bands that I learned to love, and I don't think that's a thing anymore either. Nowadays, kids are just like, yep, I heard it on Spotify and my friends like the song, so I like the song. It's like, really? Okay. That's all there is to it? But there were musical genealogies that would explain a lot of the stuff that I would listen to. Like if you use the Rolling Stones as the foundation for the music that I liked, it's like, okay, well, who wrote the song I Want to Be Your Man? Oh, that was a Beatles song that was given to the Stones by their friends, the Beatles. Okay, well, let's listen to the Beatles. And the Beatles were also influenced by American blues musicians and by early African-American rockers, Chuck Berry and Little Richard. Okay, well, let's listen to Chuck Berry and Little Richard. And then it's okay, well, that's pretty cool. And let's listen to the blues musicians. And wait, who's this Mick Taylor guy? Oh, after Brian Jones passed away, the Stones hired Mick Taylor as their rhythm guitarist. Where did Mick Taylor come from? Well, he was in this band called John Mayall's Blues Breakers. Okay, well, who else was in John Mayall's Blues Breakers? Eric Clapton. So then that connects you up with Eric Clapton's career, and then it's like, okay, well, what other bands was Eric Clapton in? Well, Eric Clapton was in a band called the Yardbirds. So was a man named Jeff Beck, and so was another guitarist, Jimmy Page. And then all of a sudden, it connects you to Led Zeppelin, it connects you to the Jeff Beck group, and then you find out about Ron Wood joining after Mick Taylor, and then that leads you back to the Small Faces, where Ronnie Wood came from originally, and that was a band that Rod Stewart was in, and Ronnie Lane, and all of these things were connected. And if you follow influences and you follow their fellow musicians, and it just led to uncovering just multitudes of great music. Some of it was more influential, some of it was less influential. But, you know, literature's like that too. So I've read Tolkien. I have copies of Tolkien. I read all of C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia, the 6 books. Liked those quite a bit. The movies... I had watched the movies and forgotten that they had even done A Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Ooh, I'm in real trouble here. Got him. But a lot of what I've read in recent years, and this was something that I got from my dad. Dad was a big fan of Frederick Forsyth, John le Carre. He liked spy novels, and those are fascinating to read. Those are 2 of my favorite authors, and they don't have anything to do with science fiction or fantasy. And I've also talked about being a huge fan of Thomas Harris and having read all of the Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter books, as well as Thomas Harris's other adventure, Black Sunday. And you want to talk about a guy who doesn't write happy endings. Definitely love all that source material. Viggo Mortensen was born in Argentina. That I did not know about Viggo. Potton says, I cannot wait for Dune Part 2. The first film was great. I agree. I'm not a fan of bad endings. I get enough of that in the real world. Ski, I agree with that. Sandogal says, I will admit that Moorcock offered great content for some of my tabletop role-playing sessions. Ski says, makes me sound old, but the people nowadays settle. They settle for people lip-syncing their performances instead of really singing. They settle for a bunch of people dancing on stage instead of realizing this is a distraction for the lack of performance. Ponton says, I don't read much at all, generally a visual person, but sometimes I'll read. Ski says, I'm always reading on my Kindle app. Waiting at the grocery store keeps me calm. I used to read prolifically, and I have not read in a long time. And as dumb as it sounds, Mrs. Mustafa and I just haven't had... And one of the things I'm excited about the new apartment is I can actually set up a good chair to sit in and read, and get a good reading lamp, and actually have a place to sit down and do it. But I tend to burn the candle at both ends, so sometimes when I do sit down and read, I'll get about a page and a half in, and then it's lights out. I had started John le Carre's The Mission Song when Mrs. M first got hospitalized. Of course, she was either sedated or in a medically induced coma, depending on how you want to phrase it, after the heart attack. And I would go sit with her every day at the hospital, even though she was unconscious. And I started the book, and I got about 40 pages into it, and then they woke her up. So I have to wait for the next time she's in a medically induced coma before I can make any progress. Just kidding. We'll get a reading chair and a reading lamp picked out, and hopefully I can get some more book time in. Unfortunately, Mrs. Mustafa has the attention span of a hyperactive squirrel and can't concentrate on anything for more than 6 seconds. I swear she spends more time watching commercials than she does programs when she watches TV. She'll watch a program and after 3 minutes she'll get bored with it and she'll just start flipping through channels. Like, are you just surfing for commercials? What the hell are you doing?
I know my mom has a ton of books and she'll read them. She has like some of it's biographies, and she has a lot of like the royal family books on the royal family. She has a lot of Princess Diana books. Actually, Puntin, I remember watching a video about that. I think they said that the original actor that they had planned for Aragorn, they had a little bit of issue with him, like he wasn't like working with the cast or something. Like, I don't know. And all of a sudden, then the actor just went downhill. Yeah, his name was Stuart Townsend. That was who they originally had cast.
Well, it worked out for Stewart. They didn't make any money on those movies, and Viggo Mortensen ended up rotting in obscurity. Aragorn broke a tooth in the foot when he hit the helmet of an Uruk-hai.
I think there's actually a scene, if you really look, in the Two Towers, when the three hunters encountered the Rohirrim, and you can actually see Aramir's sword falling out of its sheath when he gets on its horse.
Defeat Shadow Grims. I would if I had any quest slots open.
You and your quest slots, Ed.
Well, I never met a quest I didn't like. I just have to finish some of these up. I had the same problem on Jasko, if I remember.
Yeah, yeah, you had practically everything full, and then you kept filling it up.
I'm not a smart man.
I might actually be done questing here in Eregion.
Potton says, and little fact, we only have one image of Townsend as Aragorn. There's nothing else of him in the role. Well, anything that's been made public. Could be other stuff locked in a vault. You have to wonder what was going through the guy's head.
I think it was just all he wanted more fame or something. He wanted to be the main star or something, and he just, you know. I guess now that I'm done in bits for egging, I guess it's time to go ahead and start book 1 of volume 2.
Yep. Gotta head into Mordor, or Moria. Don't head into Mordor yet. It's a little early for that.
Actually, this is one of my Valor characters. She's at 105, so.
You play LOTRO your way. You want to Valar your characters, you should Valar your characters.
Oh, this was back when they did that giveaway for the anniversary, so. I've literally just been. I mean, I did do Shadows of Angmar, and I sidestepped her for a little while.
Canna checking in. Hello, Canna. I don't think we'll ever, or at least in a long time, see something like a LOTRO trilogy again. Those films were masterpieces, and lightning in a bottle, how they were made and the time they were done. Well, I mean, the Hobbit trilogy kind of shows it was impossible even for Peter Jackson to recapture the magic. Mustafa, what do you think about the Rings of Power? Canna says, I watched Rings of Power and tried to relate it to the original Lord of the Rings. I have not seen an episode. I don't have Amazon Prime and really haven't gone out of my way to watch it. I've talked to friends who have liked it, and I've talked to friends who haven't liked it. Ski says I wanted to like it. I really did, but I just could not. They should have just made a new fantasy series. Easier said than done. I think as much science fiction and fantasy has been written, and how much influence some of the stuff that's come before has on younger generations, I think it'd be very difficult to write a brand new original science fiction or fantasy series that wasn't paying homage to something else that had come before. I mean, for there to be truly an original idea out there would be pretty extraordinary.
And I also feel like, you know, a lot of stuff that's been used recently, it's like some of it's being hard to determine from, like, is it sci-fi, is this fantasy, is it sci-fi based, or is this fantasy and magic based? Like, some of it's been so much used, even in the same context, that, like, it's hard to differentiate between the two.
Wheel of Time was okay, but very rushed. I kind of understood it. Robert Jordan tending to repeat himself in the books a lot. I don't remember if it was Freelancer or Bacchus who really hated the Wheel of Time, because they were big fans of the books and they thought the TV series was hot garbage. Freelancer's around. Maybe he can let me know who it was. I know Freelancer's pretty well read in the genre. Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders series intentionally led readers to think it was a fantasy until they realized it wasn't.
Oh, as much as I would love to continue this journey, I am actually going to be getting ready to go to bed. I have to be to work at 7:30 tomorrow, so I will.
Well, you have a great night, Antler, and get some rest, and have a good day at work tomorrow.
I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Okay. Yeah, drop by. I'm sure we'll be up to something fun. Sounds like the neighbors are out there blasting away.
Oh yeah, they're doing that in Rainbowwood too.
Yep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Antler. Candace says, hey, Ed, I love frog's legs, but I can't eat too many. They make me jumpy. For those of you who haven't had frog legs, they are delicious. They're actually a lot like eating chicken wings, only the meat tends to be a little softer and more tender. The problem is that Robert Jordan would describe something, then 10 pages later do it again, over and over. That's unfortunate. Kiana agrees, frog's legs are delicious. even if they do make you jumpy. You might have just been being honey. Never read the books, but the only person I heard say Wheel of Time was good and faithful was Corey Olsen. Well, you'd think an English professor would know. Yeah, and I didn't get to see Foundation on Apple TV. Was a big fan of Asimov. I very much enjoyed the Foundation trilogy. I thought that was pretty terrific writing. They're better if you hunt them and get them fresh versus buying in the supermarket. That I can believe. I understand bullfrogs can be tricky to catch. Well, let's see where we're at. Put a spotlight on them, then shoot them with a 22 at night. Do you need a 22? Wouldn't it be more productive to just use a pellet gun? Maybe like a CO2 pistol? Just can't imagine making that much noise at night. Ski says, nope, can't do that. Roscoe says 308 Win Mag. So I guess tonight's question for Chad is, what do you like to hunt bullfrogs with? I just thought you speared them. Task at hand. Well, yeah, I suppose if nothing else, if I finish task at hand, then I've got a quest slot open. Let's see about doing that. Now, there's not a task board out here, but maybe I can stable master my way back to from whence I came.
Have you a moment?
We ride for the pit of Stonejaws and for glory. Oh, I think I only did one side. That's why I never found the other NPC I was supposed to talk to. Mustafa, do you play WoW? I do play World of Warships, if you mean World of Warcraft. I haven't for a long time. I bought the game when it originally launched, and at the time I was really looking forward to playing it, and when it first came out it tended to be very grouping heavy, and the first month I played the game, the problem I ran into was I would play for, well, you'd spend 45 minutes trying to put a group together. So you could get 6 characters your level to go through whatever group content you were doing at level 14 or 16 or 18. And then within about 10 or 15 minutes, 2 or 3 people from the group would all have to go because, you know, it was time to eat dinner, their mom wanted them off the computer, or whatever else was going on. So then you'd try to find a group for 45 minutes, then play for 15 minutes, then try to reform a new group for 45 minutes, and then play for 15 minutes. And it just got to the point where I was spending 3 times as much time trying to find pickup groups as I was actually playing the game. And when I bought the retail version, it came with 30 days of free gameplay. I didn't last the full 30 days. I was like, ugh. And I know I had other friends that were interested in it. I think I might have picked it up before some of my other buddies did. And I didn't have a regular group to play with. And the pugging aspect of it was just brutal back in the day. And I quickly lost interest in World of Warcraft. And I've got the demo account where you can play up to level 20. I don't even dabble with it. I know it's a great game. I know Blizzard makes great stuff. I have a lot of friends who play WoW. There's a lot of people in the LOTRO community that play both. I never got over that initial disappointment, I guess is all I'm saying. Or it wasn't even disappointment, it was frustration. It was just like, ugh. And in retrospect, if I'd have taken the time to actually, you know, find a kin and make friends and find a group to play with, it might have worked out completely differently. Ooh, excuse me. I didn't, though, and the rest is history. One of the things I've always liked about LOTRO is it's very fun to play with friends. It's very group friendly. It's also very playable solo. So if you don't want to take the time to find a group, or if you just want to kind of chillax by yourself, you can slink into LOTRO, do your own thing, and be perfectly content playing and not have to worry about finding groups. LOTRO is unique. Yeah, and at the time WoW came out, I think I was still subscribing to Asheron's Call, and I was a subscriber to EVE Online. And really liked both of those games, and in fairness to WoW, I probably didn't have room for a third MMO at the time. Okay, here's a conundrum. I can free up a quest slot by finishing task at hand, but I can't finish task at hand without freeing up a task slot. Let's see what we can do here. Old man glasses activate. The gloom of Nirn can be found in the silent street. I'm glad to see EVE Online is still around and doing well. That's been a pretty unique game for a long time. I know the complexity scares away a lot of people. I actually like the complexity. Thought it made it a fascinating game to learn. There's an old saying in the EVE Online community, and again, not to disparage any other games, but whenever an EVE Online player left to go play World of Warcraft, both communities got a little smarter. I always thought that was funny. Hello, Clark Kent. Yeah, that's me. I'm completely unrecognizable once I put on my reading glasses. Task limit reached. I got 15 points for something. Friend of the Reclaimers. I probably have some stuff to sell.
You are welcome among us, friend.
I am welcome among them. Alright, let's see who gets this foot. What did I do with the foot? There it is. Sorry, that came on quickly. Weird, I always normally sneeze in pairs. There will probably be another sneeze coming at some point. El Guarango plays in Laurelin with Bjorning, level 81 is difficulty, full DPS. He did not make it. Mustafa, do you recommend other games? You know, my experience is there's always more games than there are times to play. I play a pretty fair variety of stuff. I finished Witcher 3, enjoyed that quite a bit, but we do World of Warships on Sunday nights on my channel. I've been doing Random Game Night on Tuesdays, although I missed it this week because I had to work late. We've done Among Us, we've done Jackbox games, we've done Rocket League, we've done Path of Exile, which I'm streaming on Saturdays pretty regularly now. I've played and streamed Fallout 76. I very much like all of the Fallout games, but of course Fallout 76 is the weakest of all the titles. It's still pretty good. It was a hot mess when they launched it, but they've done a nice job of stabilizing it and improving it over the time they've had the game out. And I did mention earlier that Apex Legends is soul-crushing and nobody should play it. It's a terrible, terrible game. I have a little over 4,000 hours in it, probably. So I like shooters, I like science fiction, I like fantasy, I like real-time strategy, I like games. But as was previously stated, I think it was Aurora Ember who mentioned it, that gaming is always more fun with friends. And that's been... I'm trying to think how much influence I've had over what we've played versus what some of our friends have suggested over the years. Because it's really been a hoot. Like World of Warships, I don't know if there's enough game there that if I were playing it alone, I don't think it would hold my interest. But playing it with 5 or 6 or 7 friends every Sunday night, we just have a blast running operations as a full division and just getting better at them and hanging out and just enjoying our time together. That's really been a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun playing Rocket League as a group, even Path of Exile. It's pretty casual when we play it, and it's just fun to get the guys together and hang out. And for me, a lot of it is who I play with as much as what I play. I think that's important. El Guarango. How horrible am I butchering your name, by the way? El Guarango. El Guarango. I'm trying. So yeah, my advice is, and what's funny about it is all the people I play with, for the most part. There's a few exceptions. I don't think Captain Zoid Merrick has ever played Lord of the Rings online. He's part of our regular World of Warship sessions on Sundays. But he's a friend from real life who happens to play warships, and I invited him to join us, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough. It's like, trust me, you're good enough. And he's actually fit into the group quite well. But everybody else is LOTRO players. We've met through LOTRO. We all have LOTRO in common. It's a common point of reference. And then we've gone on to play other games, and it's been a lot of fun. OSU Cowboys 85 coming in. Hello, sir. I'm doing good. How are you doing, Cowboys? Forbin Kid says, I've seen you do some World of Warships, and I didn't figure out if your opponent was AI or other players. The main reason to gear up and to unlock other ships, I play a lot of random battles, Forbin Kid, but the reason we play operations on Sundays is if you're playing random battles, you can only have 3 players in a division, but if you're playing operations against AI opponents, you can have up to 7. Excuse me. And we like the large group aspect of it. Battling a headache, but slogging on. Good for you, Cowboys. OSU Cowboys is a longtime member of the LOTRO community. Be sure to like, to follow, cheer, donate. Let's see if we can get OSU Cowboys into a higher tax bracket. He's a great guy. Give him a follow, hang out with him, say howdy when you get the chance. And she's not here tonight, but I am going to shout out Doranel. Doranel is a more recent friend I've met, and she and Lord Bobulus are somewhere in the midst of getting married and or honeymooning and or celebrating her birthday. So, and Doranel hasn't been around much this week. She's got a lot going on in real life, and we wish her and Lord Bobulus well. Hope they're having a great time. I know from personal experience, our wedding day, me and Mrs. Mustafa, it was a surreal experience. Just being surrounded by a couple of hundred people who love you and wish you well, and sincerely are hoping for your happiness. And Mrs. Mustafa and I were truly blessed on our wedding day, and I hope Adoranel and Lord Bobulus feel just as blessed. It was a tremendous day. And I remember the pastor before the wedding coming and talking to me. He's like, "So are you nervous?" And I'm like, "Nah, I got nothing to be nervous about. I get Mrs. Mustafa." And he's like, "That's a great attitude." And as I've said many times before, Mrs. M and I have been married 20 years. I have not been bored a single day. She is a unique individual. And I feel very fortunate to be sharing my life's journey with her, and glad that it is continuing. The world would be a much emptier and less interesting place without her in it. So we will continue to work for her continued recovery, and I'm looking forward to having her back home and in her usual feisty fighting spirit. Am I walking past the person I'm supposed to be talking to? Yep, there he is.
Gundabad will be ours once more.
Well, speaking of Mrs. M, ETA on her coming home. If I had to give a target date, I would say July 12th. It could happen a little sooner, it could happen a little later, but we're trying to get it done. So yeah, she should be home pretty soon. So I'm picking her up tomorrow. We're going to go meet some friends for Vietnamese food. And I'll look forward to her hanging out and barking orders at me. Unfortunately, I think now is probably a good time for me to call it. I had a lot of fun playing tonight. It's been a long week. I had a couple of 13-hour days at the office. We've got some friends who are streaming. Professor Teacher G is streaming LOTRO. Kid Emotions is playing Apex Legends. Grizzly Wookie is playing Smite. Celestia is playing Elder Scrolls Online. So you've got a lot of folks you could go hang out with. We will only host a LOTRO player on LOTRO stream. So let's go raid Professor Teacher G. Please check out her channel, join the raid, and throw her a like, a follow. Feel free to donate, subscribe, put her in a higher tax bracket, and be kind to all LOTRO streamers at all times. I'll be on my personal channel later this weekend. Everybody have a fun, safe holiday weekend. Enjoy Canada Day. Enjoy the 4th of July, and we'll see you all soon.
Goblin.